if I can just plug my brain back in. Okay.
We still need some theme music.
We really do, but I don't know what we're going to use, and I can't compute it at the moment.
I'll work it out at some point.
Okay, one thing at a time.
One thing at a time.
Okay.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of the Pony Podcast.
This is one of the episodes that we are boring you with that we recorded at Badminton, as you will hear in a minute. We recorded this with Sophie Hall, she's the GB student rider national representative.
Yeah.
Basically. And she's organising the Student Rider Nations Cup that's happening this year in, where is she doing it? Norfolk. Okay.
Oxley College.
And it's very exciting. We recorded this on the Saturday at Badminton, so you can see, if you can tell in the interview, at what point we get kicked out of the media centre because they start doing the debrief from the cross-country day. And yeah, just see if you can tell.
We've interviewed Sophie because I've known her through doing student riders.
Yeah.
So she's got lots of experience, and we're also going to tell you in the interview how you can get involved, and also point out that you don't need to be, jumping 130 or competed at advanced eventing to do it. Like, it's open to everyone. It's a good time if you.
It's a great way to. It's a great way to learn about, like, getting a horse around a 130 or doing like an advanced medium dressage test.
Yeah.
Because you get the opportunity to ride horses like that if you get onto the team, and you have people there to help you who have experience of it.
And also it's a good way to meet students from other countries that also ride, and then those are good connections.
And then you've got pals to go and stay with when you go travelling.
Yeah,
Which is what a lot of people I know have done. All right, hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify as ever. And I mean, if you have any other topics or people you want us to talk to, DM us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram also, or DM us on Facebook, or email theponypod@gmail.com. All right, enjoy it.
Happy listening. All right, let's do this.
Okay.
Do you want to introduce it or shall I?
I can introduce it. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Pony Podcast live from Badminton. We're in the Media Centre today, which is why all the sound around us sounds very professional and hardworking. We're sat here with Sophie Hall, who is the Team GB National What does that say? National Responsible.
Yeah, so I think the translation is national responsible, and we call it, I think we say natural representative in English.
National representative, yeah. I was reading it like,
anything
that's not right.
There should be an N in there because we're possible.
Yeah. She was part of
it really doesn't matter.
She was part of the Student Rider Nations Cup Great British team that won gold at the World Finals in 2017, and she won individual silver at the SRNC's, the Student Rider Nations Cup, by Romania leg in 2016. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, good. Okay, let's start this. Were you in the Pony Club, and if so, which branch?
Yes, I was in the Pony Club, and I can still admit that I'm still in the Pony Club.
I think I was your steward at Nationals last year, because your mum wouldn't take your boots off, and I was like, it's fine,
I've got it. You probably were, and I decided to take two horses that actually decided they could not be apart from each other, even though they were way too old for that. But they were like, oh my god, and everyone was looking at me in the warm-up like, you are crazy, like, what are you doing? But yes, I am still in the Pony Club, the South Shropshire Hunt branch of the Pony Club. I think I've been with them since we moved to Shropshire when I was about 10, 11. So yeah, I'm getting to the end now, but I'm powering through.
We're going to be kicked out next year.
Exactly, I'm keeping going.
Hanging on with like white knuckles.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you learn in the Pony Club that you've kept with you?
I think the Pony Club teaches you so much, and I think through student riding, the instructors and some of the selectors that we also work with at our trials very much put a lot on Pony Club and Pony Club tests and things like that, because I think you learn so many kind of essential skills when it comes to not just riding but also horsemanship. So I think overarching it's hard to kind of pin that down to one thing, but probably the one thing that I still use now would be the scales of training. That's really cringe and a really nerdy thing to say, isn't it?
I love this. I always have this discussion because my problem with the scales of training is that suppleness comes before straightness, and I think if you have a young horse, you need to get them to go in a straight line.
To get them to be,
otherwise they just run through a shoulder. And there's been a lot of horses that I've ridden for people where they've been like, oh yes, we've been working really hard on his suppleness, and I'm like, no, what you've done is he now bends his neck and runs off down the long side. And the reason that Alex is giving you a look is because Oliver Townend's being interviewed just behind you. That's why Alex suddenly went
Welcome to the media tent.
I saw your eyes going, I was like, there's something going on. I'm like, should I just keep talking? Because I don't know.
That's why I thought I'd say, just to break that little moment.
Selfie.
Anyway.
Okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, so scales of training, I actually agree with you. I think the order in which they go probably also depends on what you're riding, the age.
And what you're trying to do with
what you're
it.
trying to produce, exactly. But I think just having those kind of like key skills and key themes to think about when you're riding are super, super useful, and I think really core to developing you as a rider, and especially if you're producing a horse yourself, trying to think about how you're going to produce them correctly.
It just gives you a bit of a structure, doesn't it?
Do you think having the scales of training in mind when you're doing student riding, when you've only got 5 minutes, is really helpful, because you can get on a horse and be like, where are you at? Right, I can work with this.
Exactly, like so spot on. I think it's so important. You kind of have to go back to, I'm reluctant to call it the basics, because actually it's really hard to get all those things correct, but I think it is very much like that core structure. And as you say, you've got a couple of minutes to ride a horse you've never ridden before. Like, what do you think about? And I think it's having that real understanding. Okay, so have I got the rhythm? Have I got the suppleness? Have I got the straightness? Have I got the impulsion? Blah 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 blah. Until you get that kind of finished picture. How much of the finished picture you can get, as we all appreciate, is a little bit subjective, but definitely helpful.
On that, can you explain a little bit about what student riding is and what the format is?
Absolutely. So I think it's quite alien to a lot of people, but essentially it's an opportunity for riders to compete on unknown horses. So student riding is for young riders who are studying at college or university, and they can kind of go on from that and continue to compete, but the kind of starting point is being of that kind of age group, so around 18 I guess, and we compete in our own kind of relevant university college teams in dressage and show jumping on unknown horses. So it's that opportunity to actually show, I may not have a 4-star horse at home, but I may have a good feel and a good understanding of the horse and what to do with the horse in order to get, kind of like what I want.
I mean, having friends who've done like world finals and stuff, I have heard of people being in the warm-up, and obviously like as you go through the rounds they get harder, don't they? So by the end of the dressage you're having to ride changes and stuff.
Yes.
And I have had friends who've been taught how to ride changes in the warm-up.
Amazing.
Before they go in.
Yeah, that's literally happened to me before. We had a girl who's a show jumper by trade, so she had show jumpers at home, and very much kind of went to student riding thinking, the show jumping, I've got this nailed, I'm going to absolutely smash it. The dressage, I've never done dressage, so we'll just see what happens. She ended up in the dressage final, exactly like you're saying, had no idea how to ride a half pass or a flying change. From a dressage perspective, show jumping, it's like, well, it just changes so I can jump the fence. Like now it's like,
keep going forward in a new direction.
Exactly.
Kick it, you'll be fine.
Exactly. But actually, then when you have somebody there, you've got your NI, you've got your chef to keep that can actually say, okay, so this is the basics of how to do it. If you've got the feel, then it's amazing how people pick it up. It's impressive.
So to give our listeners an idea of the level, so if you're competing for your university, what sort of level is that? And then if you go to do international, what is the level of those competitions?
So I would say there isn't a limit on the level. So you obviously start at your university teams, but within that you've got A, B, C, D, even E teams. And the level is pretty low. I would say it's very much open to anybody, and it's very much encouraging people to get involved. So don't think because you don't have top level horses at home
Why
you
not?
can't
You
be
guys have all
involved.
been here, you enjoy it, you probably know a lot more than some of the journalists.
Ready?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so just to give our listeners an idea, What sort of level are the competitions that they'd be competing in for their university or colleges, and what sort of level are the international competitions run at?
Okay, so first off, I would say if you're interested and keen to be involved in student riding, there is no limitation on the level. It's very much welcoming people to get involved, and within your university there'll be a range of teams. So you will have your A team, but you'll also have your B, C, D, E team. At university there are 2 key leagues if you're competing, so that's your Champion League and your Trophy League.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember now, it seems like a long time since I was doing it. So your Championship League is for your A teams, and that is kind of your highest level at university, but that again starts at show jumping. You're probably jumping 90 centimetres. Your dressage, you're probably doing an individual test that's maybe prelim to novice level BD. Your Trophy League is then lower than that. You're jumping probably 80 centimetres, and your dressage test is definitely, I would say, an easy kind of solid prelim level.
Walk, trot, canter, both legs.
Exactly. Really straightforward. So very much encourage kind of people to give it a go. And I think even just trialling, I think people will get an idea of even if you're not competing in your first year, you may be on a development team, you get an idea of how it works, and then actually you can kind of progress through that. So that's kind of your university level. Then if you do well in your university region, you can qualify for regionals, so it kind of steps up a little bit. So the jumping for that could go up to maybe a metre. Your dressage, probably more of a novice level test, and again from there it's a knockout round type of competition, so you can get to nationals, which is very similar to our international format. So at Bucks Nationals you will begin in a team test, which is totally different to everything else. So you ride in a team of 3, which is great fun, and it looks really pretty on camera, so everyone quite enjoys that. The level of the test isn't particularly complicated. Again, it's probably a novice level test, but because you're riding in 3, it adds a totally different level, different element to it, and it's really good fun. And then you knock out rounds, so whoever rides and performs the best on the horse that you're riding will qualify for the second round, third round and finals. So the finals will lead to dressage being more of an advanced medium to PSG level test, and jumping more like 1.20 m, and that's quite similar to our international competition.
But you're riding horses who can do the height and are pretty safe, so as long as you kick, you're probably
exactly
right.
Totally. And that's what I think is so important. If you've got the feel and you've got the confidence to do it, please don't feel like you're at home and you've got a horse that actually can only jump 80 centimetres, but actually it's really quirky, it's really long in the back, it's really not adjustable, and actually you've got a good feel to make that work, can sometimes mean you can jump 1.20 m better than someone who's got a 3-star event horse that just kind of does it for them. Exactly.
So how did you get involved in student riding?
I was studying at Durham University, and I was the nerdy kid that was obsessed with my horses and kind of looked at how I could ride at university before I applied. That was basically the core. I was like, sorry mum, academics come second, horses come first. I did study, having said that, I studied politics and French, so it's totally kind of unrelated to horses. Just putting that one out there, but knew that they had a riding team at Durham, and that it sounded really good and really fun to be involved in. It was also, they trained at a show jumping yard, which for me as an eventer was my weaker phase, so that was quite good. Quite exciting. I was like, great, I can learn some more things from them. So definitely university level. I trialled for the teams in my first year, was very lucky to get onto the A team, and then in my second year was captain for the Durham team as well, which was great fun. I then went on a year abroad, so kind of left student riding for a year altogether, and came back for my final 4th year, and I was like, do I go back? Will it be the same? Especially, when you've been captain of a sports team, you just wonder, will people remember you? Is it going to be strange? I wasn't sure of the dynamic, but thought, you know what, I enjoyed it so much, it shouldn't matter, just give it a go, and it doesn't matter. got back into the A team, which was lovely, and actually by total coincidence I was in the car on the way to a training session just for normal university competitions, and someone had said they'd seen online there was a trial opportunity for an international student rider team, and they were like, Sophie, why don't you come along? And I was like, yeah, okay, go with the flow, push it down, I'll go along. And that was that, basically. That was that.
What's your favourite, bearing in mind that we have a clean podcast and no explicit language, what's your favourite memory from Student Rider Nations Cup?
Okay.
After all of the lemonades that you've drunk.
All the lemonades. Many lemonades. I think it's a really tricky one, because I think it comes down to two memories for me. First memory would be my first ever Student Nations Cup. It was in Romania, which Alex knows is quite like a unique location in that you get these thousands of Romanians that come to watch, and it's like a massive thing. It's put on national TV.
Oh my god.
People ask for photos with you, and I'm honestly no one to have a photo with, like, not at all. So you really you feel like you are
a celebrity.
in an international competition. And for my first experience, that was so exciting, so amazing, and also quite interesting for me, because I went along thinking dressage is my forte. That's what I really want to try and prove to the then NR Henry. I wanted to kind of prove my place. Well, we actually ended up as a team getting eliminated in round one of the dressage. Essentially our captain had accidentally written our names down wrong on who was riding which horse, to who we actually got on. So we went down the centre line, the judges were like, you're riding the wrong horses. So it was a logistical issue, but even so, there was myself and one other newbie, and we were in tears because we just thought we'd lost our spot on the international team and our lives were over. And I was like, show jumping, okay, I can show jump, but I'm no show jumper. So I thought, oh god, what's going to happen? And next thing I knew, I was in the final for the show jumping. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about jumping 130 on a 5-year-old. Like, oh my god.
I used to find that with bucks though. So there was me and a guy from Bristol, and obviously I event, and show jumping is I'm no show jumper.
It's an inventive thing.
And he show jumped, and he'd always beat me on my dressage horse, and I'd always beat him on his show jumping horse every single time.
It's amazing, isn't it? And I think it was really good for me as well when I went home to my own horses to think, okay, so actually I can do that on something I haven't ridden. In international competitions in the final you have to ride 2 horses. So there was one that was 5 and very green, and there was one that was more experienced. I had to ride the green one first, which for my nerves was not great.
Kick hard, kick hard, kick hard.
I had one in Germany that was the 3rd round, so it was like 110. And I got on this horse, and I was the first one on it, and I asked the girl what it had done, and she's like, well, my mum competes at 80. I know it can jump 110.
Fills you with confidence.
Cool.
Exactly, and I think it's that kind of, it's an opportunity for you to realise as a rider that actually, even if you haven't got the horsepower at home, that maybe you can do it. And also, just not to be too phased when something goes wrong. You know, like the first day for us was a disaster, and we were all heartbroken. But actually, to think, no, pick yourself up, go to round 2. You know, you don't know what's going to happen on day 2, and just still enjoy it. So. That taught me a lot, and then probably my second memory was obviously winning gold at the World Finals, because that's like the pinnacle. And I then decided I was going to retire as a rider. I was never going to ride again because I couldn't top it.
Go out the bag.
Yeah, the dreams happen. That's it.
So you're organising a Student Rider Nations Cup in August in Great Britain. It's the first one for 5 years?
5 years, yeah. No pressure.
What's been your biggest challenge organising that?
It's a tricky one. I think I'm lucky that I'm still in close contact with the previous NR Henry, so I've been able to catch up with him and learn kind of, okay, what worked, what didn't work last time. But I think the biggest thing for us is that we're a voluntary association, so similar to how charities run, you're very much, you're running this for students and for giving students the opportunity to kind of prove themselves and go on to potentially have, you know, great exciting careers in equestrianism that maybe they wouldn't have the confidence to have done otherwise. But obviously if there's no funding, we're recognised by the British Equestrian Federation, which is fantastic, and we really appreciate having their support. But from a monetary point of view, kind of how how we raise the money to actually run something like a Nations Cup. So having our sponsors is definitely, we are so grateful because they are the people that make it happen. So we are really excited. We've got a few really great sponsors for this at SRNC. Cordings of Piccadilly, they're a very cool...
I know the person who runs it.
Do you?
I know Noel Euler.
Noel is an absolute gent.
He's responsible for the bright green trousers of Harry Mead last year.
He is the fashion statement and the whole like rivalry between Sam Griffiths and Harry as to okay, who's going to get the best dressed award, because they were both in Cordings battling it out which trousers look best. So we're really excited that Cordings are going to be our official team sponsor this year.
Wow.
So they're sponsoring the Nations Cup, but also just the team as a whole for the year,
incredible.
which is fantastic. And then we have some other sponsors for the Nations Cup, such as Elevator, so you may know them from their kind of bespoke made to measure bridles and tack, Protexin as well, for obviously the equine nutrition. High Five are our nutritional athletic kind of
for you
sponsor.
guys.
Exactly.
For horses.
Yes, exactly. To keep us going through the 3 days when we're really struggling to keep going, they're going to keep us performing at our peak. And we've got a couple of new sponsors coming in as well. But without them, we honestly couldn't do it. And I think finding those companies that really are going to support us and give our young students the opportunity to potentially have great careers in equestrianism is what it's all about. So definitely that.
It's second to none, really.
Yeah.
So while you're at uni, you had to juggle your horses and studying, but now you work full time and you compete, and you have 3 horses that you compete.
Yes.
So what are your top tips for students to be able to do both?
I think just go for it would be my advice. I ended up at a university that was 4 hours drive from my home.
You planned that poorly.
Was really poor planning, and I had a horse, bless him, who'd qualified for the Mitsubishi Motors Badminton Cup here. In my final year of university, when I was 4 hours away from home and I had my final year
finals.
That was really good planning. So definitely.
I can go one better. So I was at Pony Club Champs 3 days before my master's project was due in.
Okay, yeah, that definitely beats it.
Alright, it's not a competition, guys.
Sorry, just to prove to everyone that you can juggle.
100%. I think there's more crazy people out there that maybe we realise, but I think my advice would just be to give it a go and go for it. Like, if you really care about it enough, you can make it work. And for me, I think it's also the support team that you have around you. So I'm really lucky that I have horse crazy parents. So they actually met through their horses who were stabled in livery next door.
Oh, that's so cute.
Bless them. I know. And if I didn't have them, I couldn't do it, I'll be honest. So they're really supportive. I have a full-time job in London to pay for keeping the horses, so I do kind of pay for everything. But it does mean that 3 days a week I'm down and really relying on my parents to kind of keep them going and look after them until I can come home and school them and compete them and everything else. So I think there's an element of keep going, just go for it. It's worth the effort, and also just being grateful for the support team, I guess.
So our final question is another one that we ask everyone. Our final 2 questions even. What is one thing that you wish you'd learned sooner?
Oh, that is such a good question. I think probably, and this probably sounds cliche, but it's okay to have a bad day. I think as a person generally, I've always been a bit of a perfectionist, and I think I found it quite hard when things don't go to plan. And I think that first Nations Cup with the student riders for me was like a real exaggeration of that pushed me and forced me to deal with
when things go wrong.
Because for me at home, I've got some lovely horses, but they are difficult and they're not high level, and really we were one day eventing with them primarily. So if you have a bad day, you can go home and sulk about it for a week, and it until you get over it. Whereas at the Nations Cup, I had to really snap myself
Get it
out
together,
of it.
yeah.
And get on with it. And I think then you speak to more people and you realise like that happens to everyone
Yeah,
with
it's
horses.
fine.
Like it's an animal at the end of the day. Don't beat yourself up over it.
I mean, we
and
spent all
keep
day
working.
watching the cross country at Badminton, watching that happen for
Yes,
people.
exactly, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And you see them ride towards the line, you think they've got it pitch perfect, and then for whatever reason they run out.
The
or
horse
something
doesn't
goes
jump.
wrong. Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. And you just think, actually, I guess the more that happens, the more you learn. And if you don't have days like that, you're never going to improve. You're never going to get better.
Yeah.
So final question, another one we asked everyone. Having seen a lot of riders come to trials,
Yes.
it's very relevant to student riding.
Yeah.
Do you think that talent is real, and how much of a bearing do you think it has on an individual's success?
I think it's a fantastic question, and it's
Thanks.
it's a really good question. And I know we were having a bit of a chat about this, and how on paper you can look at a group of riders and think, okay, I can rank these 1 to 10, and that's going to be on paper their experience, their horsepower,
The results they've got.
the results, exactly. And actually, when it comes down to watching how they interact and get a tune out of a horse that they don't know, that can be totally turned on its head. So obviously talent is fantastic, and if you've got a natural talent, brilliant, but if you don't work hard at it and you don't put the hours and the effort into it, it's kind of irrelevant in a way. Whereas I think, if you really are passionate about it and you really want to work hard and go for it, then you've got as much chance of getting there.
Yeah. Well, that's all our questions as the cheers from the chat zone.
Just while we had to
Start.
move outside.
Can anyone tell the point where we moved outside?
So just to round off the interview, if people want to find out more about student riding, where can they find you on internet, social media?
Absolutely, so definitely get involved. As you can tell, I'm super enthusiastic about it, and don't feel like because you've got a certain level of horse at home that you can't be involved. It's open to everybody. From an international perspective, we are the GB Student Riders, so you can find us on our website, which is gbstudentriders.co.uk. We also have a Facebook, Twitter and Instagram page where you can find us under GB Student Riders. And if you are also just interested in kind of starting out with your local, university or college team, this all kind of functions under BUCS, the BUCS system. So just have a chat with your university sports department, and they'll be able to help you get in contact with the relevant
And
people.
also, all the universities that have riding teams have their own Instagram pages normally.
Yes.
So if you're looking at a university and want to find out more about their teams, you can find their Instagram
just have
pages.
a Google, and it's amazing how many teams you can find.
Pop up.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you're failing, just contact the GB team, and I'll make sure that I can kind of help you out.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us. We hope this has got loads of people involved and wanting to get involved as soon as they start going to uni, thinking that UCAS offers are coming in at the moment.
Yeah, or everyone will be
Confirming
thinking about
them.
where they're going.
Yeah, good luck.
Massively good luck. As ever, follow us on Instagram and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And we hope you guys enjoyed badminton as much as we did, mainly. And we hope you listen to the next episode. Right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.